Tell you what, folks, I was happy last night. Really happy. Polls, these things that you vote for, I tend not to do them. They tend not to matter to me. And I don't really care about them as a rule. I noticed over the last 3 or 4 weeks, the Racing Post has been running a poll, the greatest racehorse of all time. They put about 30, 40 racehorses in there. Disappointed because I think the late, very, very great Millreef wasn't even in the early stages. If it was, I never noticed it. The greatest racehorse I'd ever seen until sort of 10 years ago, in my eyes that is. Anyway, they've been running this poll and it got to the final. The final 4 were voted for. They went through a different rounds and quarterfinals and semi-finals thing, and they got into the final a couple of weeks ago. And the 4 horses were Red Rum, who we all know, even those of us that were born after Red Rum deceased, because its exploits are known throughout the racing world. 3 Grand Nationals won. Did it come second in 2? I think it got placed in 2 as well. A feat that we've never seen before and probably never ever will. Denman, lovingly known as the Tank, a real favourite of mine, really, really was. Kato Star, the horse that everybody thought would win the poll, the horse that was favourite to win. In fact, it was very much odds on. They were doing a booking at the start and it was odds on. And then the one that eventually won, the late, great Henry Cecil's horse, FRANKEL. Oh, and FRANKEL won it, and I was over the moon. When I seen they got in the final, I thought, I hope FRANKEL wins. I've never seen a horse like it. I'm never going to. The greatest horse I've ever seen by a country mile. I mean, I've loved Millreef for 30 odd years now, 40 odd years probably when FRANKEL came around. But I seen FRANKEL, and after 12 months I thought, this is the horse. The day it won the 2000 Guineas, I've never seen a performance like it. My jaw just dropped. I'll never see a performance like it ever again. Don't matter how old I am, I'll never see the like of that again, ever. And I thought, there's never been a better horse than this. But you see, the way these polls go, folks, 6,000, I believe, voted. And for all I've followed racing all my life, I started in the early 70s. I had a granddad that got me into it. He never knew what he was doing, but I was 10 or 11 when I got interested. I liked all forms of racing, but it was mainly flat racing for me. Your Millreefs, Brigadier Gerards, Nijinsky's. It was a golden era. And I knew a few jumpers, but it was always really the flat racing. And it always was, so say 15, 20 years ago. And now it's probably 60% 40 the other way. I'm more to jumps racing than flat. As many people are. I think the real horse racing enthusiasts, the real fans of the sport, not the gamblers, but the fans, I think they're all mainly in the camp of national hunt rather than flat racing. And I thought, well, of all those that I vote, they're all going to be national hunt followers, or in the main. And I bet they were. I bet for 6,000, I bet 4,500 were national hunt fans in the main. And I thought, they're not going to vote for FRANKEL, they're going to vote for one of their own, which is why Kato Star was favourite. But no, they did the right thing. They voted for the greatest racehorse of all time. A great story, fantastic horse, trained by one of the greatest trainers, if not the greatest trainer of all time, in the late, great Henry Cecil. Many believe that FRANKEL kept him alive for longer than he should have been alive. Throughout FRANKEL's life, Henry was struggling with cancer. It was an aggressive cancer. He was making regular hospital appointments, and just FRANKEL kept him going, and I believe it did as well. Some have said FRANKEL shouldn't have won because it never won over a mile and a half. I thought it was capable of doing that, but it never ran over a mile and a half. And many have knocked it because it never ever raced abroad. I get that. In this day and age, horses tend to go to France, Ireland and France. They've always gone to Ireland and France. More now go to Dubai and America. I get it. I 100% get it. But I think people are missing the point here. Henry, for the last couple of years of his life, was dying. How he lasted as long as he did is beyond me. Just a very, very, very courageous man. You've got cancer like he's got, and you have regular hospital appointments, and you've got your own surgeons, consultants. You don't go getting on planes and doing 8, 10, 12-hour journeys to the other side of the world. You just don't do it. It wouldn't have been good for Henry at all. It wouldn't have worked for him, which I believe is probably the reason, as much as anything else, that he stayed on these shores. But his performances on these shores were just out of this world. Many of them were breathtaking, and I mean breathtaking. The 2000 Guineas was a case in point, but it ran some other absolutely fantastic races. Won its last race at 1 mile, 2 a mile and a quarter, never raced over that before, in bottomless ground it didn't like at all. Started slowly, but still ground it out and beat a multi-group one winner at the end. Just a brilliant, brilliant horse. The voters got it right. To those of the 6,000 that voted for Frankel over everything else, thumbs up from me. Well done. You picked the right one there. Great story, wonderful horse, wonderful stallion now, absolutely wonderful trainer, and a great and sporting owner in Prince Caleb. And that's it from me. I just was pleased last night. I was just pleased it won it. Had anything else have won, I'd have been absolutely gutted. For all of the other three, I'd have been gutted if they'd not picked Frankel. And I didn't expect them to. And it's nice sometimes when you get a result that you don't expect.